you never want children to die, but some children have bad vibes, you know? They just happen to be Palestinian.
Civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know.
Who gives a shit?
Okay, but don't you feel like, for example, children?
Children grow up to be Arabs.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
טוב, אז כנראה שנעצור.
את לא רוצה לענות על זה?
תודה.
אוקיי, אפשר לשאול למה?
כי אני לא חושבת שיש מישהו שהוא חף פשע שם. צר.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע...
It's so funny seeing these like otherwise lovely old ladies that look like they're probably kind to their immediate family members say such unrestricted style politics, like demonstrate such rapacious supremacist attitudes. It's crazy. Like, you wouldn't expect this person to be the second coming of Adolf Hitler from afar. You know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, that's a lovely old grandma. It's a lovely aunt. And the lovely aunt is like, yeah, we should execute every child. We should keep the adults around and just kill all the children instead, because then we'll teach the adults a lesson. Because the children will become adults anyway. Longer clip from the first woman here.
Civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know.
Who gives a shit?
Okay, but don't you feel like, for example, children?
Children grow up to be Arabs. I shouldn't say this. I know, I read the numbers last week. My memory died and went to heaven. I don't think children should suffer, but they're always casualties. And since they do a lot of pru-rvu, that is the natural result.
You know, those Arabs, they breed like rabbits, an infestation.
Do you understand why the world is so angry? Because they keep seeing so...
Overall, the world...
Okay, this person, even recognizing that the world is angry, puts her as like one of the more progressive members of Israeli society, okay? I was going to say, I'm suspecting that she will say it's because they're anti-Semitic, or like the talking tree here, okay? The dialogue tree goes into two directions here. Why do you think the world is angry then? Anti-Semitism is the, average hardliner position, or they just simply don't understand the living conditions that we have here with Arabs.
Does not really understand what's going on here. They do not grasp the concept that Israel was attacked. And Palestinians, there is no such thing as Palestinians. They're Arabs who have many countries to flee to and nobody wants them to. But if we do call them Palestinians, their parents use them as human shields to gain sympathy. The natural instinct of a Jewish mother is to protect her child. Palestinian women do not have that.
How do you know this?
From years of living here.
Can you give an example of something you've seen?
As I said, my memory died and went to heaven, but I read newspapers every single day, and I've read many different stories where the woman took her child and put her in front, and then she thought this is going to gain sympathy with her readers around the world, and it does.
Is this real? I find it really hard to believe that people are this blatantly evil. Dude, this doesn't register as evil in her mind, okay? That's what's so... This is what people don't ever comprehend, okay? From where we're standing, we hear this lady say some of the most horrifying things with ease, and we are shocked. In her mind, she thinks this is the most normal thing you could say. Like, do you think Do you think supporters of the Nazi government in Germany were like, oh yeah, we love killing Jewish people because it's awesome because we're bad? No, they thought Jewish people were evil and scary monsters. There is always a cycle of propaganda that must justify the horrifying actions that the state takes. There's so much literature on this. There's so much research dedicated to how, oftentimes also conducted by Jewish scholars, Jewish academics as well, many of which also are not exactly supporters of Israel either. You literally don't know the half of it. Brother, Jewish grandparents are notorious the most loving and kindest people you will meet and make bomb-ass food and will always keep you fed majority of the time. Like, I know this lady gives the best hugs and makes bomb fucking food, but this is also the exact representation of how all my older Jewish relatives think. Yeah. That's why I'm saying that, like, I'm sure that she is otherwise not a fucking psychopath. You know? She does not consider what she's saying to be evil. Okay? In the same way that, like, the average Germany supporter, the average supporter in Germany did not consider the government to be evil. At most, they considered it to be a necessary evil. Let's see what this lady
החפים
has to say.
מפשע נהרגו בעזה.
לא, זה גם לא מעניין אותי.
לא? למה?
לא מעניין אותי, אני הייתי עד 7 באוקטובר בשלום ובשיח ובדו-שיח. אחרי זה הבנתי שאין עם מי לדבר, כולם שם מחבלים, לצערי הרב.
אבל ילדים, כאילו.
לא, אני אומרת בכנות, לא מעניין אותי.
אתה יודע כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
כן.
כמה?
כמה מדווחים או כמה? 35,000?
מה אתה חושב?
35,000, 30,000?
אני דווקא מהאום, זה פחות. 16,000.
16,000.
אוקיי.
It is actually less when filmed. Wait, what?
אתה מבין למה העולם כועס על ישראל?
כן, בטח.
אז מה אפשר לעשות?
פשוט לא להתייחס, פשוט להיכנס ברבא.
אוקיי.
כמו לשפוט בני זוג מהצד, איך הם רבים, איך הם זה. תהיה בתוכו בזוגיות, בלבל את השכל. שיש הרבה קטנה.
את יודעת כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
טוב, אז כנראה שנעצור.
ואת לא רוצה לענות על זה?
תודה.
אוקיי, אפשר לשאול למה?
כי אני לא חושבת שיש מישהו שהוא חף פשע שם. צר.
אבל ילדים אבל, נגיד.
הילדים מסכנים, אין ספק, אבל הם לא יגדלו להיות ילדים חפים מפשע, לצערי.
Oh, it's sad though. Sadly, all those kids are gonna do murder.
החינוך, לדעתי, הכל מתחיל בחינוך. ואם החינוך הוא בעייתי.
Projection. The assumption that Palestinians need to be taught in school to hate Israel is projection. Projection that Israelis actually need to be taught to hate Palestinians through every orifice of Israeli society, Israeli culture, and Israeli education. It's pure projection. Palestinians learn to hate Israel not in school. Palestinians learn to hate Israel when Israel bombs the school, when Israel bombs your house, when Israel bombs and kills your immediate family members. And that's an understandable anger that people have. So that's why a lot of this kind of, they're being taught to hate Jews or whatever the is very silly.
מה אפשר לעשות עם זה? כאילו, מה אפשר נגד זה?
לדעתי, להכניס שם ארגון שישנה את התוכן של החינוך, וברגע שיחליפו את התוכן של החינוך, ושלא יהיה מצב שבו החינוך יהיה רק כדי להרוג יהודים, או שנאה, אז יש שינוי. כל עוד המצב הוא כמו שהוא היום, לצערי המצב לא ישתנה.
אתה יודע כמה חפים מפשע נהרגו בעזה?
15,000, 20,000?
זה משהו כמו 40,000 לפי יום.
40,000,
אוקיי. ואתה מבין למה העולם כועסים על ישראל?
כן, אני מבין.
למה?
כי הם חושבים שיש פה ג'נוסייד.
אוקיי, ומה אתה חושב?
אני חושב שמי שלא היה פה, מי שלא ביקר פה, אין לו זכות לדבר, קודם כל. מי שלא חווה מה ש...
You gotta come taste the genocide in order to have an opinion on it, you know?
אני לא חושב שיש אף מדינה בעולם שזורקים עליה טילים, שמבצעים פיגועים בתוך הארץ, שככה על ימין ועל שמאל. בכללי אין צד צודק ואין לו. בכללי ישראל יותר השפויים, כי אנחנו לא מחפשים את המוות. אנחנו רוצים לחיות בשלום. אנחנו עשינו שלום עם סוריה, עם מצרים, עם ירדן.
לא עשינו עם סוריה, אבל בסדר, עוד לא.
He said we didn't make peace with Syria.
כמו שהמשפט אומר, ברגע שנניח את נשקנו, לא תהיה ישראל, ברגע שהם יניחו את נשקם, יהיה שלום.
Okay. How many civilians have been killed in Gaza, from what you know?
Who gives a shit?
Okay, but don't you feel like, for example...
I wonder if that applies for us Americans who are funding this thing we can't talk about. I mean, dude, the reality is America post 9/11, you know, if you ask them, should we kill every Muslim on the planet? There's a button to press to kill every Muslim on the planet. You'd be shocked at the results. Every country has some, I wouldn't say universal moral principles, but most people operate in a similar framework.
Children?
Children grow up to be Arabs. I shouldn't say this. I know, I read the numbers last week. My memory died and went to heaven. I don't think children should suffer, but they're always casualties. And since they do a lot of pru-rvu, that is the natural result.
Do you understand why the world is so angry? Because they keep seeing so...
Overall, the world does not really understand what's going on here. They do not understand, grasp the concept that Israel was attacked. And Palestinians, there is no such thing as Palestinians. They're Arabs.
No such thing.
Who have many countries to flee to and nobody wants them to. But if we do call them Palestinians, their parents use them as human shields to gain sympathy. The natural instinct of a Jewish mother is to protect her child. Palestinian women do not have that.
How do you know this?
From years of living here.
Can you give an example of something you've seen?
As I said, my memory died and went to heaven, but I read newspapers every single day, and I've read many different stories where the woman took her child and put her in front, and then she thought this is going to gain sympathy with her readers around the world. And it does. It is successful for them.
Do you know how many civilians have been killed in Gaza?
I know the rumor has been talking about 50,000, but I know, I'm also informed that the formal number is a little lower than that.
The formal number is around 42 now. That's
42?
the last I heard, yeah. Do you understand why the world is angry?
At us?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think they're wrong, and I can actually explain.
Explain.
If you have a minute. I think that basically the terror regime in Gaza, in all the countries around us, so they also govern the people, and they also they deny them from aid, first of all, and they also kept hostages in Gaza by the Hamas, because basically the Hamas won't let them leave because they are living targets.
Okay.
So I think I do want to
Meaning if they
Palestine, but not from us, from the Hamas.
So, meaning if they were allowed to leave to go to Egypt, let's say, because Israel's not going to take them in, obviously. So if they were allowed to go to Egypt, Egypt would let them
Obviously. Yeah, put these Arabs somewhere else. Another Arab country, you know?
in.
It's just the same.
Far fewer people would be killed. That's what you mean?
Yeah, Egypt and Jordan, they should definitely go there. And by the way, Egypt already had the chance to take on Gaza, but eventually they decided not, and this is how it became our problem. But then again, I don't think that we should solve it anymore, because you're not supposed to solve your enemy's problems. So it's up to them, and the Arabs should be more willing to accept them.
Okay, but don't you think Israel has a moral responsibility?
It's a difficult question because I really think that war has. I think that the Western world probably is not aware of like what war means, actually. And I think that again, the taking care of your own enemies is a little bit. It's conflicting, you know.
It's not our fault that we are stronger than them.
Yeah, it's also not our fault that we defend ourselves and we have every right to defend ourselves. So that's
Go
what
to
I
Mama.
think. Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Yeah, free Palestine from Hamas, and don't hate us Jews. We're really nice people, and we love life.
We want peace.
We just want
peace, love, and rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
Wait, and you're willing to have peace with Palestinians?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, anytime.
Anytime.
Send with anybody, anyone. If they want peace, we want it.
Do you know how many civilians have been killed in Gaza?
You know, okay, one moment. No, I don't know exactly, but I don't want to ask that kind of question.
No? Okay. Can I ask why?
No, don't take the pictures.
רגע, אני לא רוצה אוקיי, אז מה רצית להגיד?
מה שרציתי להגיד שיכול להיות שאנשים מתעניינים כמה פלסטינאים נהרגים או דברים כאלה, אבל לא כל האנשים שואלים כמה ישראלים נהרגו, או זה לא רק עניין של להיהרג ממש, אין כמעט ישראלי שלא נפגע. לא מהמלחמה הזו, לא רק מהמלחמה הזו, אלא למעשה במהלך כל השנים האלה. והפגיעות הן נפשיות גם, הפגיעות הן לא רק של ישראלים ספציפית, אלא גם בכל העולם. הם סובלים פשוט גם מאנטישמיות.
על יהודים בכל העולם.
כן, על לא עוול בכפם, וגם יש להם דיסאינפורמציה מאוד גדולה בכל מה שקשור לפלסטינאים. מה שקורה, שמה שעושים, שאף אחד לא מתעניין בחול.
I like that she did in real time the translate Hebrew tweet meme. She was like, I don't want to talk. And then was like, never mind. Let me spit some truth at you right now, real quick.
כמה ילדים לא ישנו בלילה, כמה ילדים עשו פיפי בגלל שהם שומעים את החדשות, ואני לא מדברת רק על המלחמה. תאר לעצמך קודם כל מה הילדים מרגישים וחושבים אחרי 7 לאוקטובר. ומה הילדים חושבים ומה קורה לילדים שהם שומרים על כל הרציחות האלה ועל כל הטרוריזם הזה שקורה. אז ככה שאי אפשר להשוות את זה, וכל מה שקשור לכמה פלסטינאים נהרגו, תשאל את חמאס שהם התעניינו כמה אנשים וכמה ילדים נהרגים, כי זה בגללם, ושלא יתחבאו מתחת האדמה ושלא יתחבאו
It's like so funny that even if you were to put it on the same moral playing field, which I don't think like a colonial occupant and those who seek emancipation from said colonial occupation are on the same moral playing field at all. But even if you were to place it on the same moral playing field, it's like Israel's still the bad guy in that situation. That's why so much of Hasbara and so much of the defense of Israel's actions that revolve around, dehumanizing Palestinians is oftentimes attributing to Palestinians the crimes of Israel. Every accusation is a confession of Israel's crimes. Which is ironic because then it turns around and basically justifies Hamas. Because if you're justifying violent action, unlimited violence against an organization, a unit, or a military force, a militant force that has done these atrocities, then you're literally justifying October 7. You're justifying more than October 7, which is what Israel is doing to Gaza already.
מאחורי האזרחים פלסטינאים, אוקיי? וחוץ מזה גם מה שקורה עם הפלסטינאים הם בעצמם גם לא צריכים להרשות את זה. זה בעצם מה שהם עושים, אם הם נותנים, למרות שאני מבינה שגם הם מפחדים, אבל כל מה שקורה זה אי אפשר להתייחס לזה שישראלים כביכול פוגעים בפלסטינאים. זה לא בא משם, זה מתחיל מזה, זה מתחיל מכל הפעולות של טרוריזם, של טרור, ומשם זה בא, ככה שאי אפשר לחלק את זה לשניים. כל עם ישראל נפגע, זה לא רק משפחות של חטופים, לא רק משפחות שנרצחים, וכל המשפחות שחיילים שלהם נהרגו. זה פשוט מאוד חשוב לדעת שהצבא הישראלי הוא לא הולך והורג פלסטינאים רק בגלל שבא להם בשביל לרצוח, לא הולכים לשם בשביל לרצוח. הם מודיעים מראש, הם גם זורקים להם מהמטוסים פתקים שמזהירים אותם אם יש מקומות שהם הולכים להפציץ שהם יודעים שזה נשק. שום צבא בעולם לא עושה את זה. ואיזה צבא כן יכול להתמודד עם זה כמו שצבא שלנו מתמודד. האזרחים שנמצאים בלב
Yeah, it's so hard. The biggest difficulty is coping with all of the death of children. You know, oh man, it's such a tough job that the Israeli occupying force has, you know. They have to live with themselves after killing all of those children. Can we just reframe the conversation to the real victims here? Me, my feelings, the feelings of people who have done untold atrocities, countless atrocities.
מקום שנמצאים שם טרוריסטים והנשק, איך אפשר להתמודד עם זה בצורה אחרת? לכן נפגעים גם האנשים. הצבא שלנו הוא הכי מוסרי בעולם, ככה שפשוט חשוב שידעו, שום צבא בעולם לא עושה את זה. וגם איזה צבא בעולם, תגיד לי בבקשה, נותן סיוע הומניטרי במהלך המלחמה לאויב שבא לרצוח ולטבוח ולאנוס. שום צבא בעולם. החיילים שלנו הם הכי הומניים. פשוט חשוב שידעו את זה. הם לא באים לרצוח, הם רוצים רק להגן על מדינת ישראל ועל האזרחים שלהם.
Do you know how many civilians have been killed in Gaza?
I don't know the exact amount, but I think it's around 20 to 25K. I think something like.
According to Bibi and according to the UN, it's around 16,000. That was the latest thing.
Okay.
Do you understand why internationally the people are very disturbed by this?
Yeah, I do, because they don't really understand why it's happening. They just see it. They scroll on Twitter or whatever it is. They just see it. They see the facts, and they don't understand why it's happening. They don't really get the bigger picture of the story.
So what is that? What's
and the bigger picture of the story is, everything is happening because of a group, a little violent, called Hamas. Basically everything is happening because of that. They started everything. They have always wanted war. Israelis never want war. We don't want it.
Never. It just happens to be that way, it's crazy.
We even barely wanted to start this war after what happened. Do you know what I mean? And that's basically.
Does it bother you there are so many civilians getting killed?
Listen, my brother has been inside the Gaza Strip for around 4.5 months. So I know a little bit more than usual people around, even around Israel. But listen, most of the kids there that are getting killed, I never support little children dying. I never want it. But if you look at the bigger picture, which is shit, I don't want to look at it like that. Sorry about my.
You never want children to die, but some children have bad vibes, they just happen to be Palestinian.
My French. Most of them will grow up not to hate Israel. I don't really care if you hate Israel, because most of the world hates Israel. But most of them will grow up not only supporting Hamas, which is a crime by itself, but joining them, which is the worst of the worst. Listen, what happened a couple of years ago with Gilad Shalit, we took one soldier that was held captive for around 1,000 prisoners, and most of those prisoners are the cause of what happened on the 10th of October. So we don't So we don't know what will happen, you know, in years to come if we'll keep doing it, right? But at the end of the day, I think that a kid running around shouldn't die, right?
Shooting what?
Shouldn't die.
Oh, shouldn't die.
He shouldn't die. That being said, I don't know what it'll grow up to. You know, most of them, like around 75-ish%, despise Israel with everything that they hate about the world. Like, they hate everything about Israel. They don't want anything to do with us. They want us all dead, gone, and fucking, you know, they want my head on a spike. And I have never done anything bad ever to any person. Even though I did serve in the IDF for 3 years. I did do it, but...
Did you serve in the West Bank or Gaza?
No, I didn't. I served at the... I don't know if I want to say.
You don't have to say. It's okay.
I'll say it. I don't care. I served at the Iron Dome, and the Iron Dome is only about defense. It's not about attack, which is why I wanted to serve there. You know, even though it was kind of, you know, mentally tough, but it's all about defense. It's all about defending your own family. You know, there's rockets flying above your family. All you want is that to stop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you look at it like that, that's what I want.
You were asked very quickly, all these civilian deaths are going to create more people who hate Israel, who want more to kill. Aren't you thinking about that? What's your response?
Listen, I think that as soon as more Hamas terrorists die, they'll bring much less war. Even if the exchange is 1 or 2 Hamas terrorists for at least 4 civilians, I don't want it to happen. I don't want civilians to die. Nobody does. That's what happens in war, you know. There's no war without civilians dying. And the quickest way to end the war is to just terminate as many terrorists as we can. It doesn't matter. So Hamas needs to just get wiped off the map. It doesn't matter how it is. They are literally just devils walking around us. They're not even human beings, in my opinion. All they see in their head is just eliminating every single human being that doesn't support, you know, Islam, that's not Islamic, that's not Muslim. You know, there's different perspectives to that. You know, not everyone in the world is gonna be Muslim, no matter how you try. So that's just an act of terrorism, and that's it.
Of course, the final point of most of these conversations arrive at, yeah, actually, it's good that we're doing all this. You have to feel that way, otherwise you would go crazy. You would try to overthrow your government. And all of these violent desires make it so that Israeli society can be dominated by some of the worst right-wing forces without the population ever understanding what's happening to them. It might not be, it's nowhere near as consequential as just like wholesale destruction and death. But this is something that already happened in like 2018, and will continue to escalate and will continue to get worse for Israeli society, as many Israelis refuse to understand why the world feels the way that they do about Israel, and why the worst dip right-wing assholes continue to control the government and even take away some of the social liberties that they might enjoy. You can't dismantle the right-wing reactionary forces as a liberal Zionist without looking at how those reactionary right-wing forces end up seizing power in your society. They seize that power by continuing to do unlimited violence.